Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. That's what
I love that. This is a great party check.
I know sometimes as we pick up one of these plays and, you know, sometimes there's a fear of, you know, speaking those first words, but sometimes you just have to start. Start from where you're at. And it's okay to be bad at it to start, because the more and more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Each time I come to a play again, it says something different than it did before. So what you learn today with these plays might be different 5 years from now if you have a chance to revisit them.
Can you talk to us about the conservatory process that you first went through and then took them through this fall?
The challenge for me was to still find a way to do the play, but like do it in a room like this. So, and that's also a play that has magic, it has gods, dreams, bears. There's a big old bear in it.
Exit pursued by a bear.
It was interesting. It took a lot of work, you know. So there was our collective detective kind of breaking the play down into like almost little mini scenes or units, as we would call it. One scene can have many different units in it. So there's little moments of where the action changes in the scene.
So I got to experience it for the first time, and I loved that the uniting was also collective sense making. I would call that collective sense making, and it was uniting and uniting. It is how to create shared understanding about a text that you're going to live in and to create together, right? That it's messy and hard and it feels weird and not intuitive and not natural until something alchemical happens and it comes together. And all of a sudden you've got something that you built together that you couldn't have created on your own. And there's something magical about that. That serves something bigger than you. And that mirrors what we do in a classroom. A well-designed classroom is to take our time, build trust, create those spaces where you can fail productively with some feedback loops, and then build meaning together that will never happen again and has never happened before. And that is special enough so that you can create something that is a little bit magical. I want to go back to something that you said about a stripped down theater, that you were doing this Winter's Tale with 11 people with this weird text that people had not really encountered before, with no budget, no costumes, no lighting, no fancy anything. Just a kind of room like this, and that kind of going back to basics, going back to the essentials is very much a Shakespeare play. In the Globe Theater, again, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, no lighting, no spotlight, no smoke machine, no sound effects, no special anything. The costumes had to be recycled over and over again, right? You had to use them because you're in repertory. So what you had to do was create imagination.
Either army stilly sounds that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the knight's dull ears, and from the tents the armorers, accomplishing the knights with busy hammers, closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. You know, so it's really asking you to open your mind, just like, imagine this. There's lots of fire. Things are blowing up, you know, so it's
And it's nighttime, and it's fully day, right? It's like 3:15 in the afternoon, fully lit.
But it's dark.
But it is dark.
See how dark it is. There's fire.
And even Hamlet, right? That first line is "Who's there?" Right? And they're like, "Oh, it's dark. I don't know who is there." It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're given cues and instructions and guidelines about how to create that universe in conversation with the actors. And what's so cool about Shakespeare's universes is, outside of the history plays, they're all contained universes. So in The Winter's Tale, you're going to be in a universe that believes in prophecies, oracles, small g gods, people coming to you in dreams, You might not believe in any of that, but in the world of The Winter's Tale, you believe in it. You might not believe in witches and the supernatural, but if you are in the world of Macbeth, you believe in witches, because they're right there as the weird sisters in prophecy, equivocation, and incantation. So you have to go into this universe that has to be created in real time, in language and in bodies, that is created, and then it is. This is why there's that liveness of the ephemeral in the stage that I think is not reproducible, is that you, as an audience member, if you're sitting next to me and we're watching the same play together, we're gonna look at totally different things.
Like we're telling the same story. Same story is happening, but depending on where you are in the theater, you receive something different.
But just based on what you just said, like, is there ever like actors in your plays that are like in the audience and then come out?
Yes.
All the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Much Ado, I was
Oh, yeah.
sitting right with the Shakespearean class, and this wonderful actor was racing down the aisles right next to us and tripped and fell and broke his lute or something, and we were all like, oh my God, are you okay? It was staged, it was entirely choreographed.
Oh, yeah.
The breaking of the lute was not, but but half of the audience right here witnessed a kind of encounter with the actor. Audiences at the Stratford Festival are totally different than 16th century audience members on a thrust stage. So if you showed up at the Globe, cost you about $5, skip work, go on a Wednesday at 2 p.m., go and see a show with your friends, you would be standing, right? You wouldn't be seated. You'd be standing in that open yard. You'd be, my favorite word for them is understanders, because they're under the stands, but they also understand because they're right there. They're gonna get spit on, they're gonna get bled at, they're gonna get pushed around. In the
Or the
late 60s,
groundlings, they call them.
the groundlings, the understanders, the stinkers.
Yeah.
So you're eating, you're talking, you're carousing, you're drinking, you're making deals, you're on a date, you're on all of those things. So Shakespeare's actors had to pull the attention, because the attention could be anywhere in that audience, right? Talk about the Get That Hope.
Oh, yes. So
Cue.
I just directed a show this past summer at Stratford that was centered around a Jamaican family that lived downtown Toronto. And if we have a regular Stratford audience, which is older and white, they will just sit there and watch. But as soon as we had, for instance, a Caribbean audience that was in the house, the play started with the Jamaican national anthem. And if there was Jamaicans in the house, as soon as it started, they would stand up and they would sing along. It was interesting to just feel that energy shift from, depending on who was in the house, in the theater that day, could change the vocal energy.
Like when you show up at something, whether it's a classroom or the theater, it matters. Your energy matters. You're deeply visible, and your energy is creating how good the experience is, which is delightful, right? It gives you free will. It gives you a sense of empowerment as architects of your experience, but it also requires responsibility.
That's what I love, is feeling that engagement into the story. And it's that electricity again of people so invested in the story that they have no choice but to vocalize. It immediately asked the audience to be involved in the story, or if you weren't from that experience, to allow yourself to step into an experience that might not be your own. Seeing how we can all be universal as we're talking about family. A Jamaican family might be different from an Irish family, but where are we similar in the storytelling of family?